Ooh, what up? No, it is a Thursday. It is Knockouts and Three Counts, and it's almost time for Metallica. But before we get there, we got another episode for you tonight, and we've got the return of everybody's favorite French Canadian Frankenstein, our guy PCO. We got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about Impact Wrestling, turning back to TNA, getting lit on fire by Bully Ray, and a lot of other things. But before we get to that, we got to bring you who is bringing you this episode, and that's thanks to our sponsors, Potter's Tree Service. If you are in the market for tree removal, tree trimming, chipping service, storm damage cleanup, walnut logging, or lot clearing, hit up Potter's Tree Service. Check out Asa Potter. They'll get you together. But enough of me talking about it. Let them tell you for themselves.
This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and Three Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and Three Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and Three Counts starts now.
All right, like you heard it, this is Knockouts and Three Counts. We've got a lot to talk about tonight with the return of our guy, PCO, the French Canadian Frankenstein. How you doing, my brother, man?
Very good, you, Kyle.
I can't complain, man. This cold weather's finally showed up to Detroit. I mean, I should be used to it by now, but I'm fucking tired of it. Other than that, it's going to be a great weekend since we're about to get into Metallica and Pantera tomorrow, Metallica and Five Finger Death Punch on Sunday, and Devin's getting hitched. Son of a bitch, let's see if we make it to the wedding next week, but we're doing all right. How are you, brother, man?
I'm fine. You guys, how are you?
Can't complain. J-Bone Corey, you living over
there? Devin, and who's the other host? Like, it's been a while. Like,
Devin and Kyle, yeah.
No, Kyle, but there's another one, no?
Kevin. Yep.
Kevin.
It was
Kyle and
Devin, Kyle, and Kevin. Yep. They Devin's gonna be coming back soon, man. The original four horsemen of the show, J-Bone and Corey, are newer to the installment, man. But yeah, we got Devin's getting married, dude, and cue the jokes. Yeah, man, you're not kidding. I told him he was gonna get married. He said it would never happen. I knew it was bullshit. So we'll see if he makes it to the altar come Saturday. What up, Bree? Shout out to Wrestle Talk Wolfpack. But like I said, dude, there's so much to talk about with you since the last time we had you on the show. So to start off, man, tell me about this last run that you've had in Impact. How are you feeling with how things are going right now, and how are you feeling after Bound for Glory?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling amazing. My body like is so good right now. Like, I'm in good spirit as well. Like, everything's, I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better than how I feel right now. I mean, that's the greatest news ever, you know.
Well, it's good to hear you're feeling all right after that Monsters Ball.
How, dude? How? I have trouble getting out of bed in the morning. You're landing on cinder blocks. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you feel great.
Yeah, no, but it's been a little while. But no, I felt pretty good right after the show too. You know, like even the next night, you know, I had a match all 4 against 4, and I did a lot of stuff too the next night. So no, things been like doing like great. I'm super like you know, being the first signing with the new golden era of TNA. This is pretty awesome. And I mean, my past 2 years with Impact have been like nothing but just, I think, constantly improving like on different aspects of the game. Like for example, my entrance, my makeup, my, you know, some of the moves that, you know, I've been like changing or twitching a little bit, and just trying to be better night after night. And I think I've done that over the past 2 years, and going into my third year with TNA right now.
I think they've definitely been a good fit for you since you've come back. I mean, we've seen everything from the Monsters Ball matches to what you had going on with Bully Ray and all of those things. Before we get into what's next with TNA and all that stuff, we got to go back and talk about what some of the things that you've had going on in Impact before that. So, since we're fresh off of Bound for Glory and Turning Point that was in England and Scotland, the tour they had over there, first of all, talk to me about Monsters Ball, man. It was you and Maclin and Rhyno and Moose. First of all, shout out to Moose for not managing to mess up those pants he was wearing. I've never seen somebody wear checkered pants during a hardcore match.
Golfers pants, man.
Man, yeah, I don't know. He's very into fashion. So I mean, that's a Monster Ball match. I mean, you don't want to, you know, mess up those nice pants. I don't know what's up with that. But
Looked like he was ready for dancing, not fighting. But man, you guys sure got into one hell of a fight at Monsters Ball, which you were be victorious in. You know, like we were talking about with you having your first shot over here with TNA now that you've re-signed the contract. How do you feel about winning that Monsters Ball match? What were your thoughts on the match? And you know, I mean, we know that you are not human, so we know that you are not afraid of the death match style. Talk to me about Monsters Ball at Bound for Glory.
Well, I just thought that it was a good mix, you know, the fact that I was there with 3 former TNA Impact World Champion, which is awesome in itself, you know, and I'm a former ROH World Champion and whatever, you know, like 3 times WWE Tag Champs and all that. I mean, it was a lot of championships, like, you know, talent guys in the ring, and I think we delivered like pretty good, you know, like we didn't have that much time. We had a good time, but you know, I think we could have used like an extra 5 or 7 minutes, but no, it was everything to me. I wish maybe the power bomb could have been like a little bit further down on the blocks and on the tacks, and just being like trying to be perfect, you know. But I think that's what it is, you know. It's a sport, and in a way where not everything's gonna be like always perfect, like a hockey game or wrestling or, you know, football or any other sport. Sometimes, you know, things happens, and that's what makes it a beauty. It makes it such a nice thing to do, you know.
And especially with a spot like that, dude, you're getting power bombed on cinder blocks. Okay, I mean, there's not too many ways to make that look pretty. So, with that said, how do you get up like that after the cinder block spot? Tell me about the spot with Moose and getting power bombed on the not only cinder blocks, but you had thumbtacks on the cinder blocks. So, I mean, dude, that is one hell of a bump to take in the middle of a match and then get up off said cinder blocks and get a W. So, what are your thoughts on that spot? Talk me through that.
Yeah, I mean, it was the power bomb. It was like a bunch of thumbtacks in my head, and it was like a barrage of chair shots on my back as I was climbing to to the ropes, and then by the time that Moose was getting ready to spear it was getting ready to spear Rhyno, and Rhyno had a chair, so it was a little bit like, okay, he speared the chair, so Rhyno got injured on that, and so Moose was also stunned by the fact that they collided, and then I took advantage of all of that and just hit them senton cannonball on Moose, and that's how it went down. That's how it went
The rest
down.
is history, as they say.
It's funny you say that, because you talk about moves that you've been adding to the repertoire. I mean, dude, I've been seeing you hit the de-animator more in like the last few months than I think I've ever seen you hit the de-animator in the entire time I've been watching you. So the accuracy with some of these moves is definitely coming up.
Yeah, especially this one. Bound for Glory and the Monster Balls match was when I did hit the animator. My forehead was so close to those cinder blocks, which added to the suspense. I thought that's why I wanted to do it that way, just to make it like so close to it.
I mean,
there's a lot of calculation there.
The cinder blocks adds a whole nother element to it, I'm sure. But at this stage of your career, does thumbtacks even phase you? I mean, to be real.
I mean, it's just cool. It's just cool.
Pure adrenaline, dude.
It's just cool. Didn't hurt at all.
It's gotta be pure adrenaline. I mean, I just like going in is one thing, but I think it'd be worse like picking them out. You know what I mean? Like you gotta get them out of there too.
Yeah.
That's probably the rough part, coming down from the adrenaline rush and then pulling these things out of the back of your head. That's got to be a fun time.
You just don't want to. You just don't want to think about it. You know it's going to be there, and you know it's going to be that, and you just don't think about that, and you just go through the motion, and then you deal with the pain after, and that's it.
I mean, you know what you're getting into, right? When you go into a monster ball match, you already know what's coming.
Yeah.
So your PCO.
It's not your first one either.
It ain't your first.
Yeah,
it probably won't be his last.
I doubt.
Yeah, I always try to find that one element that's gonna make the match okay. He's definitely not human. That's that one ingredient that I'm looking for on every big matches or every time the stage is wide and large. Like when it's time to show up. Like I always try to find something different that was never been done before, or just do it differently, or just come up with something great.
Well,
it's very challenging.
My bad. I was going to say, because we had a question about one of those for you in the comments from one of the listeners. So you talk about these spots that you do that you're always trying to look, be innovative and do things that people haven't seen. Well, shout out to Dave Houston from the Reality Era News Group. He had to ask us, he wants to know, talk me through you and Maclin fighting and getting your mouth stapled shut. It's always a threat I've heard. I'm going to staple your mouth shut, but you literally got your mouth stapled shut by Steve Maclin. So talk to me about that, dude. Where does the thought process come through that? And how did you not tear your whole face up with that one?
Well, you do tear your whole face up. I mean, not for a long period of time, just for a few days. But the thing is, like, with my character being the French Canadian Frankenstein, just being that monster that's not human, and that Frankenstein monster, perfect creation one. I needed to have that shot where it's one of the shots from the movie that I wanted to have, like, in my library forever. Just say, I did exactly what the movie is all about. Where at a certain point in the 1931 movie, when he gets his mouth stapled. And,
okay.
You see all those photos, those pictures of Frankenstein with the staples on the mouth,
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to have that shot. I wanted to have that shot. I wanted to have like maybe 5 or 6 staples, not 23, so.
That kind of quadrupled it.
Because I had some on my cheeks, had all over my mouth and my forehead, and it was all over the place, which was great. You know, it made like an historical match, like you know, everybody's been talking.
It made
about
for
that.
a moment.
Yeah,
what was Maclin's thought when you proposed this? Is what I want to know.
Well, you know, I think the whole locker room knows me pretty much, and all the producers they kind of know me enough now, and there's always discussions, you know, when things like that happen. It's not like green light all the time. It's always a process. You have to wait, you know, for some answers to get a yes. But yeah, he was very open about it. Like he was cool with it. So yeah, I mean,
Of course he was. He wasn't getting stapled up.
Imagine being that guy waiting for like the final call on what you want to do in the match, and it comes down like, you want to staple your mouth shut? That's what you're gonna do.
and then
I'm gonna cross your desk, dude. Like, what?
and then you got a discussion with a few people, not just the producer of the match, but you know, it goes to different layers and it comes back, and sometimes it's pretty cool, you know, the way it comes back.
I mean,
hey, I enjoyed it.
Talk about
what
a
you
commitment
thinking about
to
this,
the
dude?
character.
I was about to say, like, you know, you don't watch a lot of wrestling like that, but when you hear shit like this, like these fucking wrestling folks, right?
I mean, that shit's wild, man. Like I say, that's a commitment to the character. I mean, like you say, the French Canadian Frankenstein. I mean, to your point, if you're gonna live up to expectations, that is the perfect representation. Like you say, when everybody thinks of Frankenstein, they think of the mouth closed. So if you're gonna do it,
classic horror right there, dude.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a huge commitment to the character. To the character, you know, it's something that I embrace. It's something that I'm proud of. Something that I feel like I am this guy. I am this monster. I'm this creature. I've been made by E. Distro with different body parts that were found dead and revived and been put back to life, you know, with the electricity. And I really feel like that. And as I said it before, you know, it had happened at a point in my life where I was going through a transformation as well, you know, mentally and psychologically and on all phases of my lives. And it was just a perfect timing for that character to, like, I didn't find that character found me. It was great. And it's been great since that day.
It's been a good run, because as anybody that's been following us for any amount of time, you know that we've been following you since Ring of Honor, when you were the Ring of Honor champ, and, you know, seeing you, you know, reinvent yourself, being there at Madison Square Garden for that at G1 Supercard, and seeing you come out with the big entrance there, and now everything that we're seeing here in Impact, man. I mean, it's unarguably probably been the best run of your career. But, you know, we talk about TNA and we talk about TNA coming back and all those things. What are your thoughts on Impact going back to TNA, and how does PCO fit in the new version of TNA?
I mean, I think I fit right in there. I was happy to find out about that. As you probably saw, the video that was released, because it was like a secret to all the boys until it was revealed at the end of the show at Bound for Glory, and it was like I was backstage and I kept seeing cameras and mics, and I was like, oh, there's something coming up now for sure. I mean, I didn't know what was coming up. Like, nobody knew except the guys that were part of that video. But, you know, being there right from the get-go, because before TNA started, I was on that loop in Australia with Jeff Jarrett and AJ Styles and a bunch of other guys, and it was the talk of the tour that TNA was going to be, you know, that Jeff was going to start TNA back then, and I think 2003, that's when I made my debut as X, and I just posted because it's been posted a few times by the company, I believe, and I just reposted on my page, and a lot of people found out that I was that guy X, so it's kind of cool.
So it's kind of like a full circle thing for you now that
Yes,
TNA is coming
it
back.
is. Yeah. Well, and I think later on, like all the big names also that were part of TNA, like Russo and Bischoff and the Road Warriors and the Steiner Brothers and Hogan and Kevin Nash and Razor Ramon or Scott Hall, whatever, and all those names, Rowdy Piper and Abyss and all the original ones too. You know, I think it just brings that nostalgia back. I think it's just a great move. And those letters are well known. It's so much easier to talk about a product just saying TNA, and I think the fans will enjoy that for sure.
I don't think we ever stopped calling it TNA though, did we, Kyle?
And that was what I think that was one of the reasons why too. Like when I got stapled, by Maclin for the world title match in Toronto, or in I can't remember the town where it was, but
I want to say it was Toronto at Emergence.
It was Toronto, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it could be. But I remember Hogan's talking about it on a different podcast, and he was saying, "Did you watch TNA last night?" And talking about that, so which that was the way he mentioned the company. Did you watch TNA last night? So, and then PCO was getting stapled, so yeah, so that's everybody was calling it TNA, like you said. So I think it was the right.
Thing, though. I don't know why. Like it just never it never clicked in your brain to call it Impact. I mean, we knew what it was, right? But you used to say TNA, and everybody still knew what it was.
Yeah, it's just to me, it's so much easier to. Impact is like Raw or a SmackDown, and TNA is the company. And I mean, totally makes sense to me. I think it's.
I mean, every wrestling company is a 3-letter thing, so it's like a thing, right? Come on.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say, J-Bone? It was too many letters for you to read?
Yeah, man. I can't write down Impact on anything. I like to write TNA. Who doesn't like TNA? Am I right? Come on, guys.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong.
Even look at the MMA landscape, right? You got the UFC, you got now PFL, no more Bellator because their name was too long.
Yeah,
that's the reason
why.
And you got one championship who just so happens to also be 3 letters, and then I mean, maybe we got something.
We're onto something here, man. Yeah. Well, I guess you got BKFC.
So if we turn Bellator to Bell, they'll miraculously not get bought by PFL.
They're just gonna name it BFC.
That's what they're missing.
BFC, and it'd be a growing product if it was just BFC. We got all the ideas here. People need to just tune in more. That's all.
Speaking of the ideas, man, what do you last we had talked, you were telling us about your jiu-jitsu journey. Tell me a little bit about that. If I'm not mistaken, didn't I see you got your blue belt now?
Yeah. It's one of the greatest sports, for discipline and for mental strength. And like every morning that you're gonna get into a class, you're gonna work your ass off. You're gonna get, you're gonna have to fight, and that's one of the greatest thing. I think it's just it's adversity showing up and you fighting against it and trying to find keys and find ways to come on top. And I think it's a great sport for that. I think it's one of the best sports, even related to pro wrestling as far as some of the holds and some of the takedowns and a lot of things that comes down to it, like to catch as catch can, basically, that's kind of my mentality in jiu-jitsu. And that's a great sport for conditioning and for working your stabilizer, like like all of the muscles, like sideways and things like that, and every single group muscle of your body, gets involved in a fight like that. So, like every Friday morning, like we go through 8 rounds of 8 6-minute rounds. So, which is just pretty rough. Yeah. Getting my blue belt was great, because at sometimes, like 2018, like some of the years I was on the road 4 or 5 days a week. So, like we were talking about when I first did my first podcast with you guys, but it started in 2018. My big blowout match was with Walter at WrestleMania 34.
That's a
which
war.
is like, almost 7 years ago. So, and I feel like every year since then's been an upgrade to the character Frankenstein. So that's what I like about the fact that I didn't have all the answers the first year. I didn't have all the answers the second year. I still don't have all the answers right now, but I'm always challenging myself and challenging the company creatively to improve the character.
Well, speaking of improving the character, it sparked a question. So now that you've been incorporating jiu-jitsu, if PCO was to add any submission as a finisher, what would it be?
Well, for the monster to go into submissions, it's kind of weird because you wouldn't see that in the movie Frankenstein. And I'm trying to keep the old grain and the old black and white team. So I don't want to make it like too much of too innovative in that sense, where he goes with submissions. I don't say never ever. It might happen, but it has to be something pretty simple. That it can't be something too technical, because
I feel like a rear naked choke would be right up the alley of Frankenstein getting.
It could be with the hooks, just to be up to date. But it has to be something pretty simple. It could have been an arm bar too, which is one of my favorite finisher when I roll. I do finish a lot of arm bars. I can't use Kimura or Americana because Time Machine uses it a lot, so there's guys using other like similar moves, but that's pretty much my alley.
Do you like the armbar from mount better or off your back?
I like when the guy turns sideways to avoid to avoid being pinned, and he goes sideways, and I think it's a good place to transition to the armbar.
To play into the character, I think you got to take a play out of John Jones' book against Machida and do the standing guillotine. I think that's the move.
Yeah,
the guillotine.
Yeah,
okay.
And what's cool in 2023, it's like the fans are getting it. It's not like, oh, what's that? Or this is a boring thing. They get it and they buy it. And it's kind of cool.
I like it, man. I always, like you said, I love, the evolution that you've gone through, even just in the time since you first came on our show. Spinning it back to TNA, we talked about you being the first signing for that and all those things. What are some of your goals as we go into 2024 for TNA? Like, what are some of the goals that the French Canadian Frankenstein's got for TNA, and what do you think this new version of TNA is going to bring to wrestling?
Yeah. My main goal is always like to, when I roll back and when I first signed in 2019 with Ring of Honor, I believe it's 2019, December 2019. My goal was to become the world champ, and this is the same goal with TNA, to become the world heavyweight champion in the company, and also to keep improving, like I said, the character in a way where there's no other option where, you have to go that route because people are wanting it. It's there. And that's my main goal. That's get more people on the bandwagon, and there's a lot of kids on it with their parents, which is kind of a double generation things, because either the parent explained to their kids, okay, I know this guy from before, but the kid feels like this could be a good protection for. I think that's why kids like monsters and things like that, or it feels a little bit like to them not a superhero, because they're kind of big. I'm their favorite wrestler, but they don't want to come by for a picture because they're afraid. But in the meantime, it's a double, like,
it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, for the kids. So, but I see in their eyes when they getting closer, they're afraid, but in the meantime they're happy. So it's hard to explain, but I go through that a lot, and it's just growing this thing bigger and bigger and bigger. I think that's the challenge.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned being world champ. World champ is the goal. Obviously, Impact's current world champion is Detroit's own Alex Shelley, one half of the Motor City Machine Guns. So tell me, what are your thoughts on a match with Alex Shelley? How do you think that plays out with the French Canadian Frankenstein?
I don't know. It's kind of the matchup is like, okay, you got like a pure wrestler with the monster, which is, it's a different matchup. I think it's always cool when you clashes of style. It's not always good to have like two monsters going at it, or two of the same kind going at it. I think two wrestlers is good. Two good pure wrestlers, I think, always delivers a good match. But I think a different of clashes of style always could bring up a good match. So yeah, I think there's ways to make it interesting.
Oh, I think he'd have to hit and move. That would be a hell of a match for our guy Alex Shelley from here in the mitten, man. You better stick and move or you're getting caught. Well, we got a couple questions for you in the comments, man. Chris asks us from Massachusetts. He goes, "What's your favorite match that you've had so far in Impact?"
I have a few. Like one of my favorite one was the one for the title with Maclin, the one that we talked about. It was another Monster Balls match. One that ended up a feud with Bronson Reed with Jonah. And another one that was cool was the one with Gallows when I went through the ring. Well, that was a cool moment too. I mean, that was special. It was a special night. And my old feud with Eddie Edwards. So how can I pass that? And the whole thing with Honor No More until they all turned against me. And that was great that night when I finally, the monster had enough and kind of went crazy on all of them. So
he told them, "Fuck around and find out," is what the man's saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Hell yeah,
so
man.
There's so many great moments, and how can I forget like being set on fire by none other than Bully Ray.
That's one of the highlights. We were going to ask you about it, but now since you've brought it up, we got to talk about that. We've had a lot of people asking, so you got to talk to them about getting lit on fire by Bully. So talk to me about that. I mean, I've heard of some pretty out of the way ways to get a guy before he gets in a match so you ain't got to fight with him, but lighting him on fire, that's about as far as you can go. So talk to me about that with Bully Ray.
I mean, it's just I knew that was Bully's thing, to put like fuel on tables and set up guys on fire to having them go to some tables and that are burning. And I just thought that was a great, perfect occasion for the monster to rise up to the occasion and being set on fire. I mean, why not? You know, there's a lot of fire in that movie too, where he's kind of afraid, and I think it worked. You know, and yeah, just the craziness of doing it, and I like it because it's done. It was not like a fake fire, or it was not something that wasn't real. I like when everything is pretty much real in that world. You know, that's personally what it drives me a lot, when it's real, when it's not fake. I like that.
You heard it here first, man. That ain't no damn fake fire out here. Now, you know, we talked about your goals being to get back to that world title. I mean, obviously, I got to imagine Bubba's got to be on there too.
Man, the fire, I think that was in Atlanta. And everybody was so stressed out because apparently you cannot set someone on fire in Atlanta. It's not legal. So, and me, I was like, just do it like here in the street. Let's do it like anywhere. And then everybody's like concerned, where can we do that to be, you know, like to be in law and to ask permission. And like, I was like, what permission? Permission for what? You know, like I didn't understand anything about the whole process of, you know, we got to be careful and we got to be like within the law and things like that. And I know as a big corporation like that, you can't risk things, but it was like, are we going to do this or we're going to choke on it? You know, it's like I was getting impatient, you know, so that was a pretty cool moment when finally we got the, okay, let's do that. So,
oh man, see, I was hoping they just fuck it. Just let me just do it. You can't undo it once it's done. You know what I mean? Like that's what I was hoping.
Yeah, that was great.
Wait, he can't be on fire no more. I know you're already on fire, but let's hurry up and put it out.
And there's no
you're
take
not really
two, right? There's no take two. There's only a take one, and every camera's got to be rolling. They got to be ready.
See it now? He's just like. He's on fire, and they're like, "Hey, you can't do that." Oh, this? Oh, okay, all right.
Sorry.
He's on fire now. It's too late.
Just put him in jail.
What if the fuel just so happens to get spilt, and then I walk through the fire? So then I technically set myself
it was
on
an
fire,
accident,
right?
Yeah.
No, you would think because you guys were putting on a performance, it would fall, you know, under the different lines. It wouldn't be like you didn't set somebody on fire. Like
I mean, Corey.
To hurt
now
somebody.
let's just think about this. If you're walking down in a cop,
let's say all the process was like, okay, there's a lot of cars there, so we don't want a car to explode. We don't want to burn any paints from cars or things like that. So we can't do it here in a parking lot. We can't do it there in the street because there's too much wind. So there was a lot of things going on, and it's pretty like a crazy story. Just discussing the whole thing with everybody, and it took years to get that done. So
you guys gonna let me get lit on fire or what?
Exactly.
And Corey, to your point, dude, like, you know, you talk about this, you say, what did somebody say if they come up? What do you think a cop's going to do? You just come up and a guy's lit the fuck on fire. You're walking down an alleyway. Oh, shit.
I don't think you
dude's burning. Wait a minute.
PCO's going to be over like, hey, don't put me out. Let me get the shot first. Don't put me out.
Hold on. We got to get the shot. Don't burn me.
Don't make me do it twice.
No way, man. Oh God, you gotta.
Oh shit,
I love it.
You know, this brings up a great question too. You know, we just got out of Halloween. You got to tell me, how does the French Canadian Frankenstein celebrate Halloween? I feel like you would scare the shit out of some poor kids if they came up to try to come get candy from the house.
Yeah. Well, it's yeah, of course, but I don't really get involved in all that, so I'm not a big Halloweener.
Is it really? Is it a thing up in Canada?
Oh yeah, it's a thing, but it depends. There's a certain area where they're really into it, like where the houses are really like all of like, they put the pumpkins and everything and vampires, whatever. They put a lot of stuff and then make it look like Halloween. But there's some area, and there's some area where it's just dark, where there's no action at all in the area where all the kids go and they know they're gonna get a lot of candies and things like that. And
have they adopted the trunk or treats over there like they got over here? Because we were talking about that on the show with MLW Women's Champ Janai Kai. I mean, good God, with all these trunk or treats, I mean, they're all out of the street by like 8:30. We were talking about this when I was a kid. We used to come home with 2 pillowcases full of the shit, and now they're gone.
Yeah. No, I was like that too when I was growing up. When I was a kid, was with pillowcases, and we used to have a hell of fun. With a bunch of kids together and just not even going with parents, just going by ourselves.
Right.
Now everything is secure, and the parents are not too far, and so making sure that everybody's taken care of. So.
Hell yeah, man. Well, Halloween was dope around here. We didn't have as many people. I got to go check out some haunted houses and all those good things. But, with that being said, we talked about goals. You told us you want to win the world title in TNA. You also want to get some get back on a few things. Before we let you get out of here, we also kind of talked about the fact that it's a good time for you to be coming back on here because your Canadians are playing against our damn Red Wings. Shout out to our guy Darren McCarty, who just helped us donate to Best Buddies for kids with disabilities, getting jobs and all that good stuff. We just saw him here with Megaran. But how are you feeling about the Canadians this year? I mean, I hope the Red Wings beat them tonight. But how much are you watching hockey?
I don't have much. I do watch quite a lot of hockey. There's a lot of people at TNA that are big hockey fans and big hockey themselves players and things like I was I played like good hockey too with college and things like that. When I went to college, at one point I started very young the wrestling business, but then when I had some failures, like some nights, like I remember as a kid, 18, 19, being in the Maritimes, and I got caught in the first wave. We started with 2 crew, and then they cut to the 1 crew, and then kind of got let go. It was very, very hard mentally for me because that was my first territory ever. So I wasn't ready to be on top, and I was put on top, and that's where I learned the most. But that's where the lessons are so great that it was like it was super hard mentally for the age I had and everything. I was tough, so I went back to college for 2 years, but I kept on wrestling on weekends when I could. But I went back, and I went back to playing hockey. So had a lot of invitations to go, let's say Boston College, or like a lot of teams. Also Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, the Comets, which was the farm club of the Chicago Blackhawks, and International Hockey League back then, IHL, and they merged with the American Hockey League now, which it's all farm teams for the NHLs. But Hall Sims, the coach, I remember watching Hall Sims as a kid, and the coach himself called me up for the training camp, and I'm like, okay, now I could go back. I got an offer to go back, and not to go back, but to go for my first time in England to wrestle, or just go in hockey. And I remember having a girlfriend at that time, and I was like, okay, what do I go, hockey or pro wrestling? And then made my choice, and it was pro wrestling, and never regretted it since then. but because I think talent-wise, I might have been more limited as a hockey player. That's my thoughts, but yeah.
Well, I would say the wrestling thing worked out. You're right. I was going to say, I feel like the wrestling thing worked out better for the French Canadian Frankenstein. But what's something to find out that the French Canadian Frankenstein can skate too? Son of a bitch, you can't run, he can skate, man. You're gonna be running, man. Like I said, man, it's great to have you back on, and we appreciate the time and all those things. The last question I'll get you out of here on is something that's been swirling around a lot since everything went down at Wembley with AEW and all that stuff, is where is the next place we're going to see CM Punk? A lot of people have been saying that they'd love to see him in Impact, and especially with guys like Ace Steel getting brought in to be a producer and things like that too. It kind of sparked a little bit of those rumors. Where do you think he'd end up, and how do you think he'd fit in the Impact locker room? Because the one thing that we've heard resounding about Impact, or now TNA, is that everybody loves the vibe of the locker room. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think CM Punk would be a good fit for Impact?
Well, he showed up, like, I think I've seen him twice myself in the last year. And he was very, very down to earth, cool with everybody. I mean, nothing but class act every time he came by with everyone. I mean, so I really hope he would join. You know, I mean, that would be great for the company. Like, but that's all.
Yeah,
that's all.
Another guy who's got that history with him too.
Yeah. I mean, we've known each other for a little while because we were there together in TNA too. Like, he was not that known when I was there as X, and he was there as Punk, and I think he had his big run after with ROH after his TNA run. I believe so. I'm not quite sure. We're both hockey, like fanatics. Like he's big with
a Blackhawks guy.
Blackhawks, and he loves Rich Dunlop and the Chiefs, and I do too. So, I'm all in for him to join TNA for sure.
Yeah, I think one thing about him, Kyle, and we've talked about it plenty of times, like, people love to shit on his name so much, and I get it, but is it not better when he's just on TV? It's better when he's around, dude. Whether you love him or hate him, it's just better when he's there. So, you know what I mean?
I wasn't there. Like, when those things happens, like, you can't, if you can make up your mind on rumors, great for you, but I cannot.
Right.
Like, for me, if I'm not involved in a situation, I cannot simply. There's no way I can make up my mind with something that I was not involved in it. Like, I don't have both sides of the stories. I don't have anything. I don't have any real facts other than he choked, Jungle Boy, but I don't know what led to it, and it's not even.
Yeah, I feel you. I just wanted to know what you thought about him coming to TNA, because that's another thing that we've been hearing.
And I think the company's been very positive about it. Like, if it would be a marriage there, like, I think they'd be like Devin. They'd say yes for sure. I think.
Yeah. So Punk needs to say yes like Devin did. Let's see if we make it through this. That's a perfect way to segue into this bachelor party weekend. Like we said, if J-Bone and I don't make it back to Tuesday, you know what happened. Metallica and the bachelor party got the better of us.
Tonight's the last night.
I'm betting on them. I'm betting on them.
The last night we sleep until Monday, Kyle. This is it.
Hey, dude, I got tomorrow off. I'm with it. Let's go. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait to see Metallica and Pantera tomorrow. You got Metallica and our homie Chris Cale from Five Finger Death Punch coming to town Sunday. And then we're going to have Devin getting married here soon. Son of a bitch. The next couple weeks are going to be wild here at Knockouts and Three Counts. Shout out to Devin and Portia getting married. Well, dude, we have kept you for quite a while. I appreciate the time and appreciate everything that's going on. If you got anything coming up that you want to promote or want anybody to know about, let them know, and let them know where they can find you on social media.
Oh, yeah. very easy on the Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. PCO is not human. You know, I try to follow a lot of people. I try to get involved to not just being there, just and not doing anything. I'm pretty active, you know, with the fans, so which is kind of cool. And pretty also, I post a lot. I'm not as interactive on Instagram, but it's PCO is not human as well. And my Facebook is totally full. And my admin page, I don't have the control over it anymore. So something happened where Facebook, some robots decided that
You
I
too,
could
huh?
not. Yeah. So my page is floating around. My PCO is not human with, you know, I think 10,000 people following it, and I cannot grab it back. So it's kind of crazy. Meta, I'm not.
Get your shit together.
Yeah, I'm not impressed with them because you can never talk to an 01. It's all.
Oh my God. I could go on for a whole podcast just about that too. So,
but one thing that I wanted to say, I wanted to say congrats because, you know, I've been like that journey. I don't know how long before we met. You started it, but you know, the intros, the sponsorships, and all that, and many seems to be on like a lot, you know, a lot of times, and I see a lot of content, and I just wanted to say, guys, man, it's a hell of a ride for you guys too as well. So very proud of that for you.
Hey, man. Really appreciate that, man. Yeah. He was one of the first ones rocking with us, and if you've been following us, if you're going to be at Survivor Series, Knockouts and 3 Counts is going to be at Survivor Series. So, man, that is a great thing to hear. We appreciate the support there. And if you guys are new here, we're only 50 away from 1,000 subscribers. So if you're new here and you watch this later, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But yeah, dude, shout out to our sponsors, Potter's Tree Service. We appreciate y'all coming through and helping us out. Shout out to Bruce Buffer and Millions.co for picking us up on there as well. You can check us out there. Go buy you a shirt. Yeah, man, it's been quite a ride. And you've been down with us, like you said, before we've innovated a lot of that stuff, man. And it's been cool to have you along for the ride. And it was great to meet you over there at IWR with Rhyno as well. I know they got a show tonight as well, too. So hopefully we'll see you back here in the mitten soon.
Yeah, for sure. I will be.
Hell yeah, man. Well, I appreciate that. Boys, before we get out of here, you got anything last things before we get out of here and try to survive Metallica?
I'm ready to rock and roll, man. We got a lot going on this weekend. Like you said, Metallica twice. We got Pantera, 5-Finger Death Punch. We got a hell of a UFC fight on Saturday. I know, Kyle, you'll be at the bachelor party, but there ain't no sleeping. We might as well stay up the whole weekend, man. Let's do it.
You heard what the Beastie Boys said. No sleep till Brooklyn. I might not be going back to Brooklyn, but yeah, man, I had a great show tonight. And, you know, since we were talking about the Red Wings and the Canadians, fuck the Canadians because they beat us in overtime.
Yeah, but anyway, that's great. I think it's just Caulfield just scored, I think. But we got a young team, and yeah, he was 5 games without scoring, so I like that kid. I like him a lot.
We had to be the one to break his streak. Damn it!
Yeah, oh, yeah. It was a losing streak too for the Habs. So yeah, whatever. It is what it is.
You take your W, all right? You take your W and don't rub it into me. We were just talking about this with Darren McCarty. I've got faith in what we've seen from the Red Wings so far. Damn it, we need to get the Canadians back, and you already know the last time we were in Chicago, you already know about the Blackhawks. Fuck the Blackhawks.
And Darren,
we need to get it going.
Hey, I got to say, Darren's a hell of a guy, too. I love Darren McCarty, man. He's great. So one of my favorite players of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, man, that's a hell of an endorsement by the French Canadian Frankenstein. Shout out to D-Mac. I know he'll be on a show here soon. Thanks again for donating to the Best Buddies Gala this weekend, helping kids with disabilities get jobs and all those things. But, man, like I said, we will see you this weekend. If you're at the Metallica show this weekend, Knockouts and 3 Counts will be in the building. Ford Field's going to be stocked. There's still a couple tickets for you to get. So until next time and in the in-between time, let's go Red Wings. Peace.